Welcome to Nature's Glory Cabin Off-Road. Today we're doing part 2 of the combined ride from April the 27th and May 18th of 2024. These were so close together I went ahead and put all of the rides onto one video. This is part 2 where we're doing Forest Service Road 1085, Forest Service Road 1085 and Brushy Fork. And the first half is also known as Brushy Fork as well. We're going to start here where we got off of Clifton on Kendrick Ridge Road. We're going to go east on 460. We're going to pick up Dan Ridge Road 1693, and we're going to go back to Igo Ridge Loop and get back into the trails. And we can pick up here on 460. We got Chris behind us. Chad and Lindsay just joined us back up here from the other video, and we're moving on down. So we're going to get down here, we're going to go a little bit, and we're going to turn on to 1693 Dan Ridge Road, and we'll continue on it for a little ways. This is a little bit more detail from where we started. And we're going to continue down it's almost 5 miles, and we're going to turn left here. You'll see the sign. If you don't watch out, you'll miss it. No big deal, you can turn around. It's kind of in a blind spot there. And we're going to go on down and go a little ways down through here, and we're going to pick up Igo Ridge Road. This sign is kind of hard to see. You can see where we got off there onto getting ready to turn onto Igo Ridge Road and continuation of Dan Ridge Road. Then we're going to get onto Forest Service 1085. There it is, about 2.8 miles down. We're going to make a left onto Igo Ridge Road. We're going to follow it to the end, and there's some driveways back here, kind of some forks. And here it is here, and it's off to the right there, immediately to the right, kind of a little parking spot. And the next little gravel going down the hill is the start of Forest Service 1085 Brushy Fork. This one is subject to closure since it's a Forest Service road, so you need to be aware of that. We're going to go right on down here and head down the hill. I've done this several times. The first time I did it, it was in worse shape than it is here today. It was a lot muddier and all. And today it's not too bad. Been pretty dry, so it's been a pretty good ride. And we have Chris behind us here. We're going to be doing a lot of back rear camera video since I've shown this from the front a few times. Get a little bit of perspective sometimes of what things look like. We've got Chad, Lindsay, and the kids, and Ashley and Ty. We're going to be in this video as well coming up. A little bit of ruts here and there, nothing that's not manageable. I would rate this probably 3.5, depending on your equipment. I don't think I would bring a stock rig on it. You could probably do it if you got some experience. I'd say you need at least 33s and a small lift to do this. There's a couple other spots with some deep water and some rocks to traverse. So here's Chad and Lindsay and the kids behind us here in their Everglades Edition Bronco. And behind them is Ashley and Ty in their JK Sport. And this is the same video that I just showed you from the rear of Chris coming down this hill. So this is just the other folks coming down the same hill. And this day is a little bit wetter. This was in May, so it was a little bit wetter in May. You can see the trees have come out just a little bit more. This is about 3 weeks later from the April video. And another section starting out here. We're going to show a lot of this, depending on how close they stay to me. Depends on how good I have rear camera video. I've cut an awful lot out of this. A lot of the easier stuff I just left in the obstacles or things that look a little more interesting, maybe some scenery. and little water crossings, of course. And depending on the time of year and how much rain there's been, there are a few spots that have waterfalls. If you saw my other video once before, I had some waterfalls in the video. And where we went through the both spots at the same time, I tried to get videos from both of the rides. Beautiful country back in here. This is the north side of the DBBB. This is in Menifee County. If you do a loop, if you come off Spas Creek, come over here to the north side, and you loop back before you do Pumpkin Hollow. You can do all of these before you do Pumpkin Hollow, back to Slade, if that's where your destination is going to be. Try to take care of the trails. Follow the leave no trace principles. Pack out what you pack in. If you see any other trash, try to pick that up too. Let's try to take care of these things so we can keep them open. And here we're approaching the end of FS1085 section. It's a wide clearing here just before you go to cross the water onto the only Brushy Fork part. That's not the FS1085. That water crossing right there we're going to see. We'll see a little bit more. I inserted some pictures, and you'll see those that we used. I didn't have video for that, so I took a bunch of my wife's pictures and spliced them together for those of us that we have. And this is another little section here of, we stopped with the second ride. We actually stopped at this spot for a little while before we continued on and crossed the creek. Just from a different perspective, a little bit different video. All from the same spot, the water crossing at FS1085 and Brushy Fork. This can be a deep water crossing. And there are several other spots that can be deeper. I'll point those out as we get to them. There's one spot where the lake comes over into the trail. And depending on how much water we have, how deep it gets. And this here's a little rock climb. We got several pictures of this and a little more video. My wife's up there taking pictures. I had to slow this down a hair from double speed because the hood was bouncing around so much. And you see the sequence of me coming up there since I didn't have video set up to get me. And here comes Chris. Depending on how much tire you have and lift, staying to the right side of this seems to be the best line. You can get up this without lockers, as evident of Ashley and Ty don't have lockers or any kind of traction devices beyond tires, and they got right up it. The left side's a little rougher. I went up the left side before just because I have, the 37s on the JL. Here's the Bronco Everglades edition getting right up it. Chad and Lindsay. And here comes Ashley and Ty. And they get right up it. Most of this stuff's been sped up at least 2 times. The on-road portions are more than that, just because that's what they are. They're kind of boring. And I left this spot in because it's just a little scenic. You can see there's a ditch off to the side. A little bit of a washout to watch out for. And there's that same section from the rear view with Chris coming around it. You can see how deep that ditch is on the driver's side. This might be the deep water crossing. We'll see here. Kind of hard to tell from this angle. There's a couple of these. No, that's not the deepest one. but I do have everybody coming through it. I didn't get a whole lot of Ashley and Ty because they weren't directly behind me. You can see how deep it is there. It went up to his bumper. Those are 35-inch tires on that Bronco. Oh, here's the deep one right here. You can see the lake off to the left in the picture there. And we'll do some left front wheel video here, and you'll see a little bit deeper how it is. Excuse me. And that's a 37-inch tire. It's a little over halfway up it appears, almost to the rock rails. And we'll see everybody else come through that as well. I believe he's on 35s with about a 3.5-inch lift, I think he told me. And that's a JK Rubicon. I don't know the year off the top of my head. This water can be deeper. I've seen it deeper than this. And it has been fairly dry. Not as much spring rain as we usually get. And another water crossing. There's quite a few of these. This country's full of springs, and the water of course drains downhill. And there's a whole bunch of water off to the left that you can't see in this. Not just a lake from the previous deep water. While we're down low here, there's a lot of water along. Again, 2 or 3 short clips of everybody else coming through those same water crossings. And yet another. This one's a little deeper than you'd expect since it's kind of out here in the middle of nowhere. Kind of marked by that tree. You'll notice it if you've been there before. A lot of brush back in here. These are not heavily traveled trails. Not like the ones in Slade where you'll always, more than likely run into somebody. Over here, it's a rare occasion when you run into extra people. On one of these days I did. It's not in the video, I cut it out, but we did run a group that was going the opposite direction. This is the recommended direction. Start off of Igo Ridge Road and then go all the way through till you come out the other side. Do not go the opposite direction. That hill gets torn up when you do that at the entrance to the FS1085. And we're going to have some mud holes here. We're going up now. So as we go up to the top of the ridge, there are some mud holes. Some of them are deeper and have sharp drop-offs. A couple of them do, so you need to pay attention. And you could go a little bit left or a little bit right if you needed to minimize that. Likewise, if you ever need any help, be sure to ask. We run with GMRS radios. I usually have an extra one or two, depending on if anybody needs one. But I recommend you get them. Most of us get them off Amazon. If you want a recommendation, hit me up in the comments and I'll shoot you a link. The one I use. I've used a couple of different ones. Had varying degrees of success with all of them. Some are better than others. Now we've already hit the mud holes kind of on the top here, and then we're going to go push down the hill. And you'll see the water gets pushed out of the mud holes and run down the hill here in a minute. There's a fairly steep drop off there in that one spot where your passenger tire will go down. You can always fudge a little bit. There's Chris going down in it. You see the water running down the hill there where I pushed it out. And of course he's pushing it out as well. A river of mud. and there you can see it catching up with me. I got ahead of it a little bit, and there it comes running on down the hill. That's why I left that little spot in. I believe that what you don't see is also was there was a tire that was in the way, and I had to move it. Didn't have any way of carrying it out of there, so I just set it off to the side. Some of the larger stuff's hard to get out of there. There's a nice little water crossing. We'll show a little sequence going through this. A couple of different sequences. That was me and the JL, Chris and his JK Rubicon. Here comes the Everglades Edition Sasquatch, and we have the JK Sport coming up of Ashley and Ty. Just a quick little spot there. Thought that was a pretty good rear view picture of sitting there, so that's why I left that in. Getting close to the end now, won't be much longer. And here's the final water crossing at the end of the Brushy Fork Trail. There is Brushy Fork does continue on out from here, and we'll take it out to the road, and I'll show that to you. We usually stop there, and I think we got a note here that says we air up here. Again, another note for the final water crossing. If you note, you'll see a kind of a barn there behind me. There's also, that's private property. I think there's a mobile home up on the hill. And of course, we had to get everybody here, so everybody's going to cross this final spot. And again, we usually stop and visit her for a while and air up here. Then we're going to take on off. This is still Brushy Fork Road. We'll climb to the top of the hill, private property around here. There's some pretty nice scenery here as you climb out. And we get back on pavement a little further up. It's kind of broken pavement at first, and then it smooths on out once we get to the properties. Still Brushy Fork Road, so just keep on following it out. We're going to, this map takes us Brushy Fork Road. We're going to bear right onto Myers Fork Road, 3342, and then we're going to continue out to Highway 460, where you can go wherever you want. We turned right. And here's the little spot where you bear right onto Myers Fork Road. You're going to follow this on out. There's a stop sign up here that you're going to want to obviously stop at, but continue straight through to keep going out to 460. And then when you get to 460, you go right or left. We go right back because there's Pumpkin Hollow and all the north side stuff's up through there on the other end of 460. There's other videos that show you how to get there. And if you took a left, you'd be going to West Liberty, Kentucky. A little more information there for that. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. And I hope everybody's enjoyed this. This is going to conclude part 2. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Come back, and thanks for watching.